Hey everybody, Poker Dad here. So right now I'm going to be doing a session review from my last session I played on Ignition. This was Ignition NL25 regular tables. So I'm just going through the hands that I saw the flop, and I'm going to see if I find anything that I didn't like on what I did here. So let's take a look, and we'll start with this hand here where I have King 10 suited in the big blind, and we get a limp from the middle position, and I decide to just limp behind here. Um, so I can tell you that King 10 suited, I don't like the limp behind here. I think I definitely should have bumped up to 75 cents. So I think that was definitely a mistake. And we have a pot of 70 cents, and we have a backdoor flush draw on a paired 7 board here. We check, and our opponent decides to check behind. I think that's fine. And a 9 comes out, so we don't have any draws. All we have is 2 overcards now and a paired board. We check again, and our opponent checks back. And a 3, we completely miss this board altogether, so we're going to check and our opponent checks back. So I think the only thing I don't like what we did here, our opponent wins with 5-5, is a pair of fives, is I don't like the fact that I checked there, that I just called the bet. I should have definitely bumped it up to 75 cents in that spot. Here I have Jack 8 offsuit from the big blind, and we get a limp from the essentially the middle position because we're 5-handed right now, and this is fine. Now, of course, Jack 8 offsuit, definitely a just a simple call, check in that situation there. And here we don't really flop anything at all. I check behind, and he bets into me 25 cents, and I decide to fold, which I think is perfectly fine. I have nothing going here. I don't have any overs. We have no draws at all, so I think a perfectly fine fold. Here I have King Queen offsuit from the big blind, and we get another limp from the middle position, 5-handed, and then we get a min raise from the cutoff, and I do decide to 3-bet here in this spot, which I think is perfectly fine as an isolation to that min bet. So especially versus the cutoff, it was going to have a wider range. This player was a 41-17 at the time through 55 hands. And the middle position calls, so we go 3 ways to the flop. And I do get top pair, which is great. Pretty good board here. So I actually decide to check out of position. Sometimes I'll check here. Sometimes I will actually throw out the half pot bet. I think either one is fine here. But I think the reason why I decided to just check here is because you can see that both of these opponents are extremely short stacked here. And we're already in a stack to pot ratio situation where it would be a shove. So for that reason, being out of position, I decided to just check here. And one of these guys bets, then I always have the option then to raise over the top. So we get a min bet here from villain number 2. And then we get a raise of $1.25 here. So I think this is the perfect opportunity for me here, considering the stack to pot ratio, for me just to shove with my top pair and essentially top kicker, because we assume that neither one of these two had ace queen, because they probably would have 4-bet me if they had ace queen. So I do shove here, and they both fold. Let's see what they had. I like to always see what they had afterwards. Jack 10, so of course it's folding no matter what. And 6-6 folded. So that's pretty good that we got the 6-6 to fold. I'm actually kind of surprised because a lot of times these guys will just end up calling. But yeah, okay. Next hand here we have pocket 9s from the cutoff, and we get a limp here from the middle position, and we bump it up $1. So it's 3x plus the 25 cents, so 4x, and we get a call from the limper. And here we get middle pair with 9-9. Opponent bets into us here. So this is an interesting spot. I mean, we have pot odds of 19% here, and I think we should have the right equity. I just want to take a look at this here before I even see what I did. So we have, let me just make this kind of smaller so I can kind of see the screen. Let's see what we're doing here. So I had 9 of hearts, 9 of clubs. So 9 of hearts, 9 of clubs on a board that was king hearts, 3 of diamonds, and 6 of diamonds. And let's just give our opponent a range here. So he limped. So this guy's VPIP through 54 hands is 27%, and no 3 bets. But of course we're going to. So let's get 27%. Just get a range of 27%, and let's just assume he 3 bets the standard hands, ace, ace, king, king. But we think he probably even just like open these up bigger too. But we'll just take those small hands out of his range and keep the rest of these. Maybe Jack Jack, he wouldn't limp either. All right, so yeah, we have 60% equity versus particular range. So he bets 75 cents into us. I mean, the hands that he could possibly be betting out of position are a set, 2 pair, over pair, top pair is really the only things I think he'd be betting. So if we think of it like that, that might actually push our equity to 0 because we don't think he'd be betting a draw. So actually that drops our equity down to 7%. So if we think he's going to bet like this, top pair or better, then we probably should fold. We only have 2 outs, so if we use the rule of 2-4 here, 2 outs, 2 times 4 is 8%, and as you can see, our equity is 7%. So actually probably best here to fold. Plus he's betting out of position. He was a limper, so there's a very good chance that we are behind here. So even though we're getting great pot odds, the equity isn't there to the bet that he would bet to us out of position. I do call it, so yeah, I don't really like that call then in that situation. And ace of diamond comes out now, and he bets again, and this time he bets a larger percentage of the pot, and I think now we should definitely fold, and we do. Let's see what he had. And he had ace 4, so he actually did not have this top pair. So kind of a strange bet by him actually, betting out of position like that. But he was fortunate to land his ace. Curious to see what would have happened if he would have checked there. I would have obviously checked behind, so maybe it would have been a different story. But I'm actually kind of surprised that he bet like that with an ace 4 suited. Here I have king queen suited from the big blind, and we get an open raise. It's about a little bit over half pot open raise from the button, and I do decide to 3-bet him here, and I 3-bet him 4x being out of position, and he does call it. And here we get a flush draw on a paired board. I do decide to check here. I definitely could have bet, but I can also check raise here. He checks behind, and now we do hit our flush here, and I do decide to bet, and I'm perfectly fine. I think betting here for value is fine. I think checking might not be a good idea, because if I check and he doesn't bet, then I've completely lost a street of value. And he did 3 bets, so we could have a hand that's still worth calling here. And I only bet half pot, and the reason I bet half pot is because I usually bet half pot on the first bet of a 3-bet pot, and he folds, unfortunately. But I think betting is definitely the right play there. He had ace 2, so he had nothing. He was never betting there anyway, unless he was going to bluff. And we can't just hope that the opponent's going to bluff. So I think value betting there is the right play, and hope he calls. Even though we're out of position, obviously it's better if we're in position. If we're in position, we have a better chance to make some money there. Here we have Jack 6 in the big blinds, and we get the limp, and we check behind. We don't hit anything here. We have no draws. We have just one overcard. So this would be a simple fold to any kind of bet. He bets into us, and we're of course going to fold. Here we have ace ace, and we get the open raise from the under the gun, and of course we're going to 3-bet it. I 3-bet a 3x here, and we get the call from the under the gun player, and we hit 866. So I think that's actually pretty good for us. Unless our opponent somehow has a set of 8s and has flopped a full house, I feel like we're in pretty good shape here. He checks off to us, and of course we're going to value bet. Again, because it's a 3-bet pot, I am betting half pot here. and my opponent folded up. So we'll see what he had. He had Jack King, so he completely missed. Here we have King 9, Queen 9 from the button. So I open raise at 3x, and we get a call from the small blind. And we flop 2 overs here. So on a very dry but middling board, which could be good for his calling range for potential sets. No real 2 pairs here, but potential sets is always a possibility. He checks off to us here, so I think it's just an easy check back. I mean, we could c bet here, but you know, we really don't have any draws. So I think it's just best just to check back here, and I do. Now a jack comes out, so now we do have a gut shot. You know, I guess you could say we had a backdoor straight draw, but I just really don't want to play around backdoor straight draw. So much has to happen in specific cards to come out. It's better to at least a backdoor flush draw. But now we do have a gut shot here. Opponent checks for us here, so you know, I actually don't see a problem with actually betting here. I think I'd like to see myself bet and just get him to fold. And if I bet and he raises, then I could always just fold out of this hand here. So I actually wouldn't mind to see a 2/3 pot bet here. And I don't. I check behind. So I think I definitely missed an opportunity there with the gut shot, especially in position. Out of position, I don't think I would bet there, but in position to a check, especially on a turn, I think I really should have thrown out a bet there and just take down the pot right there. Queen comes out, so now I do get top pair here. Opponent checks again, and now I just check behind as well, just in case, you know, he does have a queen. Could always have a better queen than me. You know, I don't think I'm getting much value there from anything worse than a queen. So at that point, I think I'm just going to check behind. And he had a pair of 6s. So it's interesting, he had a pair of 6s, you know, so I really do think that if I bet that turn, I could have actually gotten, I don't think he would have folded, but I would have gotten something out of it, I guess. But still, I think I should have bet that turn. He might have folded to, you know, to that jack with me betting that as well, having a pair of 6s. So here we have Jack from the small blind, so we get a limp from the button, and we bump it up to $1. That's 3x plus his 25 cents, and he calls it, and we land ace 8-8. So it's kind of a scary flop with the ace being out there, and a paired board as well. I check being out of position, and he bets $1 into me, so he bets half pot. Pretty solid bet. This guy's a reg. He's 1915, so you know, he's definitely a solid player. Definitely could have an ace sitting there, but you know, I have enough equity to call here, I believe. Let's just take a look. He's a reg, so let's think about this now. Let's take a look. Jack of hearts and jack of spades, and the board is 8 of spades, 8 of clubs, and ace of clubs. And his range I have for him, it's only 27 hands. He did limp. We got to keep that in mind. So he's a 19 VPIP, so he's got a pretty tight range. And we'll take out the hands that he would 3-bet. I'll always leave just ace queen suited in there because some people 3-bet, some people don't. We don't have a big enough sample size in this guy. And the hands, you know, he's a reg, so, and I did check to him, so he could have a pretty wide range that he might bet with here. He could have quads with 8s, full house already with ace 8, no 3 of a kind. He's got all the aces in his range. We'll give him pocket pair below top pair. Weak pair, I don't think he's going to bet with. I think he might check behind with that. Might also bet his flush draws here. So our equity in this spot is 32%. So not great, of course, but it's definitely enough to call a half pot bet here. And we do call it. And a 6 of clubs comes out, so I definitely don't love the 6 of clubs here now. It completes all of his flush draws that he had, which, as you can see, in his range, 14.3% of his range was flush draws. So definitely going to check behind here, and I could really contemplate folding at this point. But when he checks, that makes things really interesting. And now another club comes out. Don't love that as well because now I don't have any clubs. If I had a jack of clubs, I'd be feeling pretty good right now. Maybe you know, the jack of clubs. I mean, well, if you take a look, actually, um, his range, he actually only has. If I had a jack of clubs, he only has one hand that could be beating me, and that is, I mean, one hand that I could be beating. That's 10-9 suited. So really, just not a great board. I check, and he bets $2 half pot, and I think I really need to fold and get out of the way on this one, and I do. Let's see what he had. And he had 2-2, so he ended up interesting spot. He actually ended up landing a set on the river. So obviously I did not have 2-2 in his betting range. Maybe I should have. Still a good fold there. Regardless of what he had, still a good fold, and he just landed that set on the river. And pretty gutsy bet by him as well, because let's just say what worse would I have called with here? I mean, I would have called with a flush. I would have called with an ace. You know, well, ace would, no, I wouldn't have called with an ace. Um, it's not much worse that I would have called with there. So pretty gutsy bet by him. But I mean, he had to bet it. He had to bet. I guess he had to bet. I don't know. With no club out being out there. I mean, with him not having a club. I mean, with 4 clubs. Interesting. Oh, we had a full house. I'm sorry, I'm an idiot. Set plus 2 8 equals a full house. Okay, yeah. Good bet. Nice for me to notice. Oh, yeah, by the way, there's a couple 8s out there. I'm so focused on these clubs. Okay. Anyway, obviously, it's a good fold. Pair of kings here from under the gun. And we get a call from the middle position. And I have top pair right now. So I do throw out a 2/3 pot bet here. And my opponent calls it. And here we get a 5. So I'm still feeling pretty good. I do decide to check back here. Not really sure why I check back here. I mean, let's just think what he's possibly betting here. I mean, what's he calling with? I mean, he could have sets, of course. He could have all these sets. He's a 38-15, 6 3 bet, but that's only 2 opportunities. He could have any set, of course. 10-7 is unlikely, 7-4 is unlikely, so 2 pairs unlikely. There's not really many draws out there. He could have a hand maybe like ace-10 here, or just really any 10. Maybe he has jack-10, ace-10. He didn't 3-bet me, so he doesn't really have jack-jack, queen-queen. So, all right. I mean, out of position, I don't know. I think I could bet here. But obviously I'm calling because I'm going to call any bet. I guess the problem is if I bet here and he raises, it puts me in a super awkward position. So, I guess the check is okay. He bets into me about 2/3 pot bet. Obviously I really need to call this here, and I do. And ace of hearts comes out. Definitely don't love the ace of hearts. Pot's getting to be a decent size. I think I'm definitely going to have to check here, of course, again. And he decides to check behind, so he doesn't have an ace. And it really takes any sets out of the equation, too. So he doesn't have ace-10. Let's see what he ends up with. Jack-8. Yeah. Well, obviously we were never getting value on a river. Okay, so he had a gut shot. So we called the gut shot, and then he bluffed the gut shot on the turn. Is what happened. Okay. Here we get a6 from the big blind, and we check it. We don't really hit anything here, so we'll check. He bets into us, and I think we just fold it. I could stick around to get an ace, but if I do even get an ace, it's just not gonna be a great ace there. Okay, how long is this video? I don't want to make this video too long. Video's 20 minutes. Go about another 10 minutes here. Make it a half-hour video. So here is 8-8 from the button. And of course I'm going to open it up, 3x. And we get a call from the small blind. So we know it's kind of a recreational player if he's calling from the small blind. He's a 35-6, and it's kind of short stack too. So I flop a set, beautiful. He checks to me, of course I'm going to bet 2/3 pot, which I do, and he folds it. So he missed the board. King Jack, and yeah, nothing wrong with that. Ace 3 here from the middle position, bump it up 3x. Ace 3 suited, we get 3-bet. Very small 3-bet from the cutoff. And let's see, I was in the middle position, cutoff, Ace 3 suited. 1 second. I just want to punch out my, take a look at my guide real quick. I can't show this on the screen. Ace 3 suited. So Ace 3 suited, I should really 4-bet here. So let's take a look and see if I did that. Versus the cutoff raise, especially such a small raise. I just called it. So I think I really should have 4-bet that there. And 4-bet at 2.2x, so I should have 4-bet at $1.50 times 2.2, so $3.30. I should have raised them up, but I didn't. Okay, completely missed the flop here. So if we survived 4-bet, I might have gotten the fold, taken the hand down right there. Now I'm kind of dead here. I check, he checks behind. Nothing's still doing. I check, he checks behind, and the 7. I check, he checks behind. So we had ace queen. It probably wouldn't have folded, but still, I still think 4-bet's the right play there. But yeah, other than that, there was no bluffs on the board. So here I'm going to raise up 3x with ace 2 suited. Get a call from the small blind, recreational player. This is not a great board, of course, as well with the 3 hearts. I could throw out a c-bet though there if he does check to me. Through 51 hands, his fold to c-bet is 66.7%, but it's only 2 out of 3 hands, so it's not really too relevant. On Ignition, you're just not getting obviously a large sample size for that kind of stuff. It's just really best for the VPIP and the PFR. Anyway, he bets into me here, and I think this is just an easy fold, and I do. What do you bet? What do you have? 10 Jack. Oh, he's made a pair of jacks. Okay. Okay, here I get pocket 2s from under the gun. We bump it up 3x. We get a call from the cutoff, and we get a call from the small blind. So we go 3 ways. Completely missed the flop here. Check. We're of course going to check behind, and a bet comes out here. Even though it's a min bet, then we get a raise, and it's easy fold for us. So there you go. Okay. Actually, I just want to see this hand real quick. What was? I just want to see what raised here, and then folded. What do these guys have? This guy had 2 pair. What did he have that he raised with? Ace 8. It's kind of a I don't like that raise at all. All right, 10-4 here from the big blind. We just check, and we get top pair with a teeny kicker. So we're of course going to check here and check behind, and I'm just going to continue to check, and I'll call a bet here at this point. 2 of hearts comes out. Nothing happens here, and we take it down. Nothing to see here. Here in the small blind, I raise it up, and big blind calls. So we get middle pair here on a 6-6-3 board. I check. He bets $1 into $2.50. So that's 29%. I gotta take a look at this one. I think I kind of remember this hand. Let's take a look at this one here. I have 5 of spades, 5 of hearts. 5 of spades, 5 of hearts. The board is 6 of spades, 6 of hearts, 3 of diamonds. And how many hands? 80 hands. And he's a 38-6. I don't think we have enough on the big blind. 3 out of 13 hands. 23. Alright. I'm going to give him the 30. I'm going to give him the wider range to call with. Where did Flopzilla go? Okay. So what did I say? 38. 38 sounds about right there. 38. And take away 6. Alright, so we'll say he would 3-bet these other hands here. So my equity here is 66%. What's he betting with? Quads, full house, 3 of a kind, over pair, pocket pair, below, top pair. You want to say middle pair with the 3? With me checking, him just trying to take down the pot right now. I mean, he could, you know. There's 2 open-end straight draws, 2 with the 5-4. Gut shot. I mean, so after all that, the equity is still 36%. But you see, I mean, it hits so much of his range, his hand. It's tough. This is kind of a tough call. I mean, I could just easily fold this here because, you know, the only way my hand's going to improve is if I hit a 5. Because even if, like, another 6 comes out, I could really still be behind. I need to hit another 5. 2 times 4 is 8, 8%. So I really think that the fold is the best spot here. And I do. And he completely bluffed me, which is fine. I still think it's the right play to fold there. Because, you know, any card that comes out is going to be trouble for me. I only have a pair of 5s. All right. Well, I think that's about it for this video. I don't think I really need to look at any more. I appreciate you watching. I hope this was interesting, just seeing me go through some hands that I played in my last session. And if you like what you saw, do me a favor, please subscribe. And until next time, Poker Dad